Hello, people. Another beautiful day. Yeah. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. What? Look, there used to be a saying in video games. Whoever controls the RPG market control video games. And I'm gonna say this: PlayStation can't afford to lose Square Enix right now. Not to no Xbox. So, if the moves that Square Enix just did was to be purchased, Sony needs to put their money where their mouth's at. Listen to this. PlayStation or Xbox, who should buy Square Enix? Says here, following Embracer Group purchase of 3 Enix studios, rumors are circulating about who could potentially buy a seasoned company. And here's the other question. From the time Square Enix was with Sony, why didn't Sony purchase Square Enix right then and there from PlayStation 1? When Square was on PlayStation 1, why didn't Sony buy Squaresoft then? Let's dig into this. It says here, with recent news that 3 Square Enix studios are being purchased by Embracer Group, there has been speculation about the future of the company itself. Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix Montreal, and the Guardian of the Galaxy developer Eidos Montreal are all set to see changes in ownership. And though Square Enix is still an entity all its own, it would be a reach to think this news could be a sign of things to come. Should the company find a new home, there are 2 obvious candidates that could benefit from its services. So now the question becomes, Sony, why didn't you purchase Square Enix, Squaresoft, back in the PlayStation 1 days? Anyway, it says here, Microsoft and Sony haven't been shy in buying huge companies and developers. From the former acquisition of Activision Blizzard to later Bungie purchase, such studios were seemingly so big that any company could making a bid for each would have been a shock. But the news earlier this year confirms that both Xbox and PlayStation have more influence than many believe. Square Enix's impact on gaming has been huge, and its success spans multiple console generations. Should the company become available, the 2 hardware leaders would likely be first in line. But here's the question again. Sony, why didn't you purchase Square Enix, Squaresoft back during the PlayStation 1 days? Why did you wait till now? Oh boy. Anyway, says here, Final Fantasy VII is one of the finest role-playing game of all time. It gained significant popularity in the West. Not only kick-started the franchise golden years, but also began a relationship with Sony and the PlayStation. Remember my videos, Partners in Crime, Sony and Square is like this? Anyway, it says here, that carries the series into 3D polygon era and beyond. Its predecessor as well as other mainline entries were all released on Nintendo system. But with the ambitious nature of Final Fantasy VII, PlayStation was the only home console that could match Square Enix's lofty goals for projects. Since then, every Final Fantasy game has released on Sony's system. Sony, why didn't you buy Square Enix? But anyway, says here, with the developer crowning achievements being so closely linked to the series of Sony's hardware, it could be a no-brainer that should Square Enix go on sale, Sony would express interest. But my question is this again. From the time Square Soft left Nintendo and Squaresoft dropped Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1 and the floodgates were open. My question to Sony is this: why didn't you buy Squaresoft right then and there? Alright. Says here, even recently the State of Play event that took place in March was dominated by Square Enix properties. From the Diofield Chronicles to Valkyrie Elysium, the publisher presence felt more than any other, even with the absence of Sony exclusive Final Fantasy 16. The relationship is stronger than ever, and so it would make sense that Sony would be a front runner should the Final Fantasy Dragon Quest developer become available for purchase. Sony should have bought Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, because Enix was a studio to themselves in their own rights, and they make good RPGs. But now they merge and become Square Enix. But my question still goes back to Sony. During the PlayStation 1 years, why didn't you buy Squaresoft right then and there, especially when you know you need them against a company such like Microsoft? Anyway, then another subtopic here. It says Xbox unprecedented nature. Then it shows Xbox plus Bethesda. Oh boy, it says here, though many believe that Sony history with Square Enix puts its prime position to acquire the company, Xbox has been more than happy to purchase folks with its acquisition in recent years. From Psychonauts developer Double Fine to the industry titan Bethesda, Microsoft's first party has grown massively since the launch of Xbox One. Square Enix could fit it into its ever-growing list of own developers beautiful, while also being a not-so-subtle jab at hardware rival Sony. Pairing the JRPG prowess of Square Enix with the Western role-playing heavyweight Bethesda would give Microsoft a firm grip on the RPG genre for future generations. Like I said in the very beginning of this video, like the saying goes, whoever controls the RPG market control video games, man. And that is just that is just true. Anyway, let me keep going here. It says here, should Xbox pursue Square Enix, it would be the first time that a Sony-centric franchise like Final Fantasy was available on Microsoft platform first. In 2015, the much-anticipated Rise of Tomb Raider, sequel to 2013 multi-platform Tomb Raider, released exclusively on Xbox. It took almost a year for Lara Croft next-gen adventure to revive on PlayStation 4, which was shock to fans as the character always been one of PlayStation's greatest. As such, Xbox acquiring Square Enix, Tomb Raider parent company until recently, would be a huge leap despite Sony history with the developer. I'm gonna go back and say this again. Sony, why didn't you buy Square Enix back then? Oh boy. It says here, critically, the company that should purchase Square Enix is one of the best understand what it does well, and that can mature its talent to continue to produce high quality games. The obvious answer would be Sony, as it has a profile relationship with Shinjuku based outfit for years, and Final Fantasy found a stable home on PlayStation from the PS1 through to now. Sony has always been preferred system for JRPGs. Well, that's about to be in danger now. a genre in which Square Enix has been pioneer for years, and making a move to Xbox would be a disappointing to so many that bought a PS5 with assumption that it would be the best system for Japanese role-playing titles. But as time has proven, Xbox has been all too happy to shock fans. End of article. Like I said to you in the very beginning of this article, the saying went, whoever controls the Japanese, whoever controls the RPG market controls video games. Whoever controls Square controls the video game market. So Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, is the key to the Japanese market. And my question to Sony fans and Sony Corporation is this: why didn't you purchase Squaresoft back in the PlayStation 1 days? What were you thinking? And why did you sit all those years from the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and you never made a move to even try to buy Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, because they merged with Enix, who is the developer of Dragon Quest? What were you guys thinking? Right now, it's all about big bank take little bank. And it's going to come down to who got the most money on the table. That's what it's going to come down to. Whoever got the most money between Sony and Microsoft to purchase Square, that's what it's going to come down to. Yeah, I know PlayStation fans should be like probably biting their nails right now. Like, wait a minute. They should be asking Sony the same question. Like, why didn't you purchase Squaresoft back in PlayStation 1 days? Why are you waiting until now? Because Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, is the key to the Japanese RPG market. And now you want to make a move at them? You should have been on them since day one. Like Phil Spencer said when it comes to Bungie. When he said they should have purchased them before they walked out the door. So the same applies to Sony now. Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, is the backbone to PlayStation. Because Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, Squaresoft with Final Fantasy VII put PlayStation on the map. And this is 2022, and now you're talking about you want to purchase, and now Sony talks about they want to purchase Square Enix. You better put your money where your mouth's at, because that's what's going to come down to now. Who got the money to purchase Square? Who have the money right now to purchase Square Enix? Because remember, when Square Enix was on PlayStation, Squaresoft was on. Sorry about that. When Squaresoft was on PlayStation 1, and also Enix, because Enix was making Dragon Quest. When Squaresoft was on PlayStation 1, man, Sony had the video game industry in a chokehold. Squaresoft opened the RPG market with Final Fantasy VII. Once Final Fantasy VII came out, there was a floodgates of RPGs that came out. It was like an avalanche of like RPGs that came out on PlayStation 1, and Squaresoft was responsible for that. Because once they brought Final Fantasy VII over, and then every JRPG developer followed suit. So now the question becomes now, Sony, okay, why didn't you take care of Squaresoft? Because right now it's going to come down to now who has the money to get Square. Because that's what it's going to come down to. It ain't about that friendship that you and Sony, the friendship that you and Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, had. That friendship means nothing now because it's going to come down to now who has the money to purchase the Square Enix. And if you thought that if you thought Activision Blizzard deal was big, yeah, get ready to spend some money, because that's what it's going to come down to. This is why Square Enix now got rid of Crystal Dynamics, and because they were trying to clean house. They're trying to get back to what they do best. Yeah, Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, is the key to the Japanese market. Because once you have Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, every Japanese developer will follow suit. Yeah. Anyway, man, I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Keep you guys posted on this whole situation. Let you know what's going on. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek playing. Or Dark Side. Peace.